Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome here. Thank you for coming to my home. I wanted to tell you some things today about the books I was reading. Surprise. Surprise. That's what I do every time. That's what I do every time I come here. But this last month, I read some really, really good ones that I'm pretty excited about. And I want to share them to you so that hopefully you can also partake in their goodness. Please like, please subscribe. I just really, really want to get to a bunch of subscribers, a little 500 and then 1,000. I have dreams, okay? And please help them to come true. Appreciate it. Now, without further ado, I would like to show you the books that I read in November 2024. We're almost over the year. Wild. But before we get ahead of ourselves, calm down. Let me show you what I read. Okay, so first, I read The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Okay, this is a poem, a long narrative poem, and I read it kind of around Halloween, maybe just after, and it's a little spooky. It's definitely a Christian allegory. But it's very fun. The Lit Life podcast did it, which is why I read it. They introduced me to so many incredible things. This YouTube channel is just marketing for them. They don't know it, but it is. So I read this poem. It is quick. I read it in a couple sittings, but there's so much in there. It was very enjoyable to read just as a story, and I'm keen to continue encountering it in a lot of places. From what I've learned, it gets referenced all over the place, and there was something that I read. What was it? Anyway, I'm already noticing The Rime of the Ancient Mariner in other literary places, which is very fun and very exciting. And if you have not read it, pick it up. It's a fun. You could read it over a couple evenings, read it a couple times. It was a fun, spooky poem to read on Halloween. Should we set you behind the candle? Sure. The next book that I read, or I guess essay, it's not really a full book, are Are Women Human by Dorothy Sayers. This little volume has 2 essays in it. The first one called Are Women Human? The second one is called The Human, Not Quite Human. And they're both kind of on a similar topic about feminism and women as human beings. But just the idea that women are also just human beings. We're all just human beings. We have a lot more in common than we do not. And they are witty, as the front says, and a little savage and very enjoyable. The first one was originally given as an address. Yeah, address given to a woman's society in 1938. It would have been so fun to hear this in person and to hear her. It would have been good. The Lit Life podcast, who controls everything I read, re-released their episode on this. So I reread this along with listening to their episode. Very fun. And could be a great little stocking stuffer, little volume for, to be honest, anyone in your life. Anyone who loves a good witty read. Okay, next. Let's do this one. The hardest book that I read the longest, took me the longest to read in November, was The Discarded Image by C.S. Lewis. Now first, this edition is Fabu. So fun. So that's great. But this is kind of an overview of the medieval model as relates to literature. So the way that people used to view the world for a long, 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 long time is very different from how we view it now. And C.S. Lewis goes over a lot of different aspects of that world to help you understand it so you can read old books much better. It was hard, but it was oh so worth it. I read this with my book club. It was very helpful to have friends to read this with and to talk about things. Some parts a little over my head, but some parts I was like, yes, this is what I've been saying. So good. It's become a classic in my library that I'm sure I'll be referencing many, many a time. C.S. Lewis, I mean, his Narnia, his Christian writings get a lot of attention, but his literary criticism often gets pushed to the side a little bit. But this is really the meat and potatoes of who C.S. Lewis is. So if you are interested in the man, I would check out what he thought was his most significant work, his literary criticism. The next one. We have this little volume, and I did not read all the plays. This is a collection of plays by Oscar Wilde. Penguin, number 600. These are always fun. But I read just An Ideal Husband, which was so good. I have not read an Oscar Wilde play before, and Ideal Husband's like roughly half of this volume. And it was funny and and clever, and also you were very interested in the story and what was going to happen, and it feels like there's a lot of commentary on art and life and culture, and I'm still mulling it over. I don't have a full I've not done a full analysis, if you will, but you can always. I really enjoyed reading this. I think the literary life is in the middle, as I film this, of doing episodes on this. So I listened to one, and once I listen to the rest, I'm sure it'll become much more clear. But reading this just reminded me of how much I love the Irish and Irish literature. That little island, somehow, they just have, like, per capita, the most impressive creative output of anywhere, I feel. Oscar Wilde, C.S. Lewis, don't know where Coleridge comes from, or Sayers, but I wouldn't be surprised. I am really, really being drawn to Irish literature and poetry these days. And I'm very keen to go back to Ireland. Very keen. But Oscar Wilde, very fun play. Again, literary life. Most of my reading this month was literary life or book club. We've come to the last book. And this book I read very quickly at the end of November. Every once in a while you buy a book and you read it right away. And that's what this was. It was kind of because it was the main book I had with me and I needed to start another one. But it was very fun. It is called The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. Now, this type of book, aesthetically, would not call to me. I would never pick it up. But I got it in a thrift store for cheap, and I was drawn to it because I recently have heard very good things about Robert Galbraith's crime novel. It's a crime novel. Robert Galbraith, if you don't know, is J.K. Rowling. And Harry Potter is a masterpiece, as we all know. And I am keen for some more of that goodness. It didn't quite have the magic sparkle of Harry Potter, which I wasn't expecting it to. But Harry Potter, the structure of Harry Potter is very impressive. J.K. Rowling is incredible as structure. And crime, detective novels are mainly structure. That's what makes them good. And this one was also pretty good. I have not read really any crime novels. This is kind of detective fiction, but kind of, let me think. Would I call it detective? I think so. I think she gives us most of the clues that we need to solve the mystery, if you pay close enough attention. Yeah, I think she did. It was fun. Definitely like adulty, a little in here and there. Okay. It's not Harry Potter. Not for children, but an enjoyable crime novel. I don't know if I'll read another one soon. I don't know if it captured my heart per se. It was a fun, quick read at the end of the month. And it's one of those books that you can just read for hours and hours and you don't get tired. When I read it for 4 or 5 hours until I finished it on the couch one day, which I really do enjoy days like that. So it was a nice book that facilitated a lazy reading day. But overall, a very nice spread, if I do say so myself. A little laughter, a little academia, a little poetry. Pretty good. Some essays, kind of a lot. I kind of really, every single one is a different form. So that's fun. We have poetry, essays, literary criticism. It's kind of long essays, but we'll say it's different. Plays, and a novel. That's kind of fun. Okay, that is it. That is all. Brief overview this month. The standout, I think standouts were definitely Discarded Image. This is a work that's going to keep me going sustenance-wise for quite some time. And I also, I'm just going to go through the whole list again. I also really loved An Ideal Husband by Oscar Wilde. And I'm very excited to read the rest of the plays in here. But I was cautioned not to read them back to back because the characters are very similar and you will get them confused. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit. All right. That's it. La fin. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Please like, please subscribe. I'm begging you. Welcome to Advent, one of my favorite seasons, I think. I'm very excited for the next few weeks. Oh, yes. I haven't told you what I'm dibble-dabbling in December. Most excitingly, I'm doing Cindy Rollins. I'm reading Cindy Rollins' Hallelujah. It is a book, an Advent book. There's a little reading you do every day. And the structure of the readings, I guess, follow Handel's Messiah. So there's also a bit of Handel's Messiah that you have to listen to every day. And that seems like a very good time to me. So far, so good. I've done one day. Keen for that. I'm also apparently still deep in a C.S. Lewis hole, reading Screwtape Letters. I'm doing this with a group of friends. We're reading like 3 chapters or so and then chatting about it. So it's a short book, but we're going through it very slowly, which is fun because there is a lot in every page of that book. And I've also been dipping into the Collected Letters of C.S. Lewis, Volume 1. And I've really been enjoying reading these, especially before bed, for some reason. It just feels like it feels like you're chatting with someone before you fall asleep, which is my favorite way to fall asleep. I will also be reading The Christmas Pigs by J.K. Rowling with my book club. I don't know anything about it, but it was the majority vote, so we're doing that. I do not have a copy yet, but I need to go pick it up. And I'm sure I'll be reading many other stories but I don't know what they are yet. It's very exciting. Very exciting. Oh, today we had the first truly fluffy snow. It just stopped, but it was coming down this whole time. So I'm going to go look at that. I made eggnog today. It's just really a great time of year for me. I will see you oh so soon. I hope you have a lovely day.